Okay, so as you know, if there is any question that you would like to pose, you're welcome to pose it by speaking the question or writing it in the chat box. Also, for the folks who are watching on YouTube, similarly, you could write your question in the chat box if you keep it brief, and I will be checking if there are any questions and be responding to them, or just comments, whatever. Okay. Okay. Oh, yes, Eric. Yes, if the video call is full, unfortunately, this medium only allows, I believe, 10 people. Then you can watch on YouTube. And if later on there is room, you can join. Soon we need to look into a different option than the Hangout option, which is limited to 10 people. A reminder that there is a retreat again being scheduled in Costa Rica in April 6 and 11. I'm giving ample notification because so people who are interested have ample time to book their flight and make the arrangements. So it's from April 6 to April 11. It's a 6-day retreat in Costa Rica outside of San Jose. If you have any questions, you can go on the meetup, and all the information is available there, or you can, of course, contact me in whichever way you can. So this meeting was titled "The Unborn Beyond Mind, Beyond Birth and Death." It sounds like, wow, that's something so fantastic. It's so far out. But in fact, the topic of that which is neither born nor dies is a topic about what we are. A profound mystery that is, when we contemplate it, revealed to be beyond thought, beyond imagination, beyond conception, beyond mentation, beyond the mind. And one may wonder what that is. And there is a wondering that sinks deeper and deeper in the stillness, which is quite different from the journey that we undergo via thinking. As we rest as we are, meaning resting as one is, we do not know what that is. And this not knowing is at peace. It is not in not knowing that is lacking knowing. Like in deep sleep, we surrender to not knowing, meaning the dissolution of the mind, the dissolution of the body, the dissolution of the world. In this complete absence, there is the peace of deep sleep. Similarly, in wondering about this, whatever this is, we find that no matter what the mind creates, labels, categorizes, or names, divides, is a division that has no end. Because you can label and then you sublabel, and you sublabel the sublabel, and on and on. And we realize that there is a place of resting, a place of being that is not labeling and that is not dividing. And that the mind cannot conceive of, since the mind only conceives in labeling, imagining, conceptualizing, formulating. So, although the unborn may seem to be such a phantasmagoric thing, it is actually the presence, the being, the reality of being that precedes any divisions of the mind. And that is always present. Whenever you look for this unformulated beingness, you will find it as your very self. You will find it as the intimacy. You will find it in everything, and everywhere you look, you will find it as that intimacy. The peace, the love, the union, the oneness, the wholeness of being. We realize at some time that we have to be willing and take the courage of letting go of what we cherish, which are thoughts and images and sensations and stories and memories. We have to be willing of letting them go. Let the universe deal with them. Let them arise out of the universal will, but not via the personal will. Allowing whatever is needed, whatever requires to be remembered, to be recalled, to be lived, to arise out of the universal will, and not out of this impression that there is something that I must do in order to survive or in order to have a better life. There's a trust in the universal order or universal disorder or the universal realm that is much larger than the conceptual realm, that is much larger than the emotional realm. Trusting that, inviting that. Birth and death are every moment. Every moment is the birth and death of the moment, one could say, but it's not the birth and death of beingness. It may be the birth and death of animal life or human life or vegetal life, but it is not the ending or beginning, the ending or beginning of consciousness. Life and death does not refer to that which we know to be the I. The formless self. Before we seek anything, we are that. Before the thought arises of I will or I need or I should, before the thought I arises, the I is, the universal I is, consciousness is, and you are that. You are this, and everything that appears to you is your complete intimacy, arises within and as your complete intimacy. And you can rejoice in that while remaining free. Unconditional. meaning not subject to anything that arises. So when we are with whatever arises, like the surface of a stream is with the rays of the sun, there is such peace and tranquility and beauty and love and well-being, which is quite different from wanting the sun to be brighter or less bright, which only results in disturbing the surface of the stream for no good reason. So if you have any questions, any comments, anything you want to share, whether here or on YouTube, you're welcome to pose your question. Okay, Richard, you had sent me this brief email. You write, there is a philosophy. Yes, Eric, it's live on YouTube. Let me see. Let's see. Okay. Okay. So, Richard, you're right. There is a philosophy that the purpose of awakening is to enjoy life. And perhaps okay, cool. Okay, Eric, good. Let's see. There is a philosophy that the purpose of awakening is to enjoy life, and perhaps its opposite, that the purpose of awakening is to transcend life. Neither feels on the mark, yet I find myself waffling between the two. Can you shed some light on this? think it's important to share, Richard, that first of all, the self, what I am truly, is already awakened. And it does not have an on-off button. It's always on. There isn't an on-off switch to the self. Having said that, it's undeniable that in our life there is unhappiness. There are questions, issues. We're looking for happiness. We're looking for a way to be happy, and we try everything. We try all sorts of things. There is no sense in denying that. And in our experience, we don't realize that there is the peace of being, because there's such strong conditioning to that I am Magdi, that I am Richard, that I am this person, I am this man, I am this woman. And because of our strong identification, such strong conditioning, we can't avoid the struggle. And so to say or to hear that, okay, the self is already awakened, there is nothing to do, simply realize that the self is awakened, is not very helpful when we don't have that experience. It's sort of theoretical, because we are suffering. I mean, it's not helpful to hear somebody tell us that, okay, you're dreaming it or you're imagining it. We have to get to that direct experience ourselves. Like, for example, when you are sleeping and dreaming, you're having in sort of a nightmare, and somebody walks in the room or tells you, hey, you are dreaming, you're having a nightmare, but you're still a character in the dream. It doesn't help you until you wake up. And then when you wake up, you realize, thank goodness. So one could say, in terms of your question about the purpose of awakening, to enjoy life or to transcend life, what do you mean by life? What do we mean by life? If you look at your question, to enjoy life, what do you mean by life? What is it we refer to as life? We cannot deny, for example, this very moment, whichever way it appears, whatever images appear. We can't deny that. If that's what you call life, then it's important to understand that this moment, which we call life, is made out of certain perceptions, sensations, certain images, which are constantly changing, because now is a totally different life from a second ago, because the perception has changed, the sensations in the body has changed, the thoughts have changed. It's important to understand that life is made out of constantly changing images, but it's also made out of something that does not change. The changelessness of whatever you call it, presence, awareness, beingness, the I, amness. It doesn't matter which way we refer to that, which is always there in our experience, which is not phenomenal, not something that you can experience like you experience an itch, or like you experience a perception. You don't experience it phenomenally, but yet it is there. You cannot deny presence. You cannot deny awareness. You cannot deny beingness. Right? So life is made out of, I'm just exploring that with you. It's made out of this image, this thought, this sensation, and it's made out of awareness. So in your question about enjoying life or transcending life, if you look at enjoying life, this moment, enjoying life, are you not enjoying it? And what does it mean to enjoy it? I am enjoying life this very moment simply because I am that. I am not apart from this perception. I'm obviously not apart from awareness. So what is there to enjoy or not enjoy? It is much bigger than enjoyment or non-enjoyment. It's a beingness. It's a beingness and knowingness. It's being, recognizing that I am, and recognizing that whatever is appearing is intimate with the I, and that I know that perception. I know that thought, but the thought knows me, right? It doesn't know me. I'm the knowingness. So I am the beingness and the knowingness, which is the Satchit, the Sat being the presence, and the Chit being the knowingness, and the Ananda, which is the bliss of the self, is what is what the true enjoyment is. So true enjoyment is Satchitananda, is realizing that what you refer to as life is a wholeness, is intimate, is complete intimacy. It's the intimacy of the self knowing itself as itself, and knowing all its dreams as being intimate with itself. In other words, another way of putting it is, when the sense of separation, when the sense that there is a separate perceiver, a separate person that is experiencing an external world, when that impression is not there, is absent, there is peace. Because there is no one who is having any issues, right? When there is no one who's having any issues, sounds good to me. It's peaceful, it's happy, it's okay, all is well. So the enjoyment of life, or the celebration of life, or the transcending life, is, in terms of the enjoyment, is realizing that there is no separate self, and having the living experience of intimacy. And all what you are transcending is ignorance. Transcending ignorance is simply seeing that Santa Claus is not real. It's not like you're transcending Santa Claus. You're just realizing, oh, it's a mirage. You transcend unhappiness by seeing that, oh, it's not a snake, it's a rope. But as long as you don't see the rope in the snake, you're still experiencing the impression that there is a snake around. And so your enjoyment is not complete. So one could say, it's of course all relative language, that awakening is simply the understanding that the I that I am does not refer to a woman or a man. That I refers to consciousness. That I doesn't refer to a body and is not dependent on a body that is born or that is healthy or unhealthy, that is handsome or not handsome, that is beautiful or not beautiful. That all that is downstream. The mind is downstream from I. And I is a formless self, genderless, formless, shapeless, transparent presence. And that wisdom does not belong to a body-mind. It belongs to the self, to I. Wisdom simply refers to the clarity and knowing the real from the unreal, knowing that I refers to consciousness and that everything else is consciousness dream. Okay, Richard, Ilse, you ask, could you comment on when I am aware? Thank you. When I am aware of being aware, the observer is not. When I am aware of being aware, the observer is not. Well, Ilse, rather than commenting on it, let's just look at it together right now. So we're looking at I am aware of being aware. So let's go to that. Let's go to I am aware that I'm aware. When you ask yourself, am I aware? Directly, you go to, yes, I am aware. It's undeniable. And the way you know that you're aware is because you checked. You checked your experience. You verified your experience. You didn't verify your experience by going to the supermarket and asking the teller, hey, am I aware? You didn't check your experience by going to your priest or your father or your mother or your neighbor and ask them, hey, am I aware? No. You went to awareness itself. And you asked awareness, hey, am I aware? You went to the I itself and you asked the I, hey, I, am I aware? And the I said, yes, you're aware. Similarly, when you went to awareness and you asked awareness, am I aware? Awareness said, yes, you're aware. So you went to your experience. Your experience is I awareness. And to go to your experience, you didn't go anywhere. You didn't go to your computer. You didn't go to the book you read yesterday. You didn't go to Ramana Maharshi's teachings. You went straight to the I. You went straight to awareness. And this going directly to awareness bypasses thought. It's a direct apperception that bypasses thought. You did not go to your thinking. You did not go to your memory. You did not go to your imagination. Nor did you go to your feelings. You did not go to your feelings and said, hello, body, or feelings, tell me, am I aware? That's not what you did. You went straight to awareness. And this journey is a journey of zero time and zero distance, while the journey in thought requires times and distance. The journey from the self to the self, from the I to awareness, is a zero journey and zero distance, because I am awareness. When I ask, am I aware? I'm asking myself. I'm asking awareness itself, and the I and the awareness are one. And in this oneness, there is no separate observer. Because when we talk about an observer, we're referring to a subject and an object, right? So I can observe a thought, I can observe a sensation, I can observe a beautiful scenery, I can observe my imagination, images. So in observation, there is a subject and an object. But in being aware that you're aware, there is a knowingness, an intimate knowingness that requires no object and no subject. The object and the subject are one in this knowingness. There is just the knowingness, awareness knowing itself. I knowing myself to be that, to be awareness. And that this awareness has no shape, no form, no borders, no limits. Is completely transparent, has no owner, has no focal point, no place where it starts and place where it ends. It doesn't go more. It's not coming any. So this is the significance of when I'm aware of being aware, the observer is not. When I'm aware that I'm aware, that is Satchitananda. I'm aware that I'm aware. Now again, the thing that we commonly experience is that I'm aware that I'm aware, and then next minute I'm aware that I'm a person. I sort of move out from being resting as the I am. I move out of resting as this transparency to being somebody with their problems, with their issues, with their hopes, with their travails. And this is what we need to sort of be attentive to. That although we know that I am awareness, and that awareness is not coming and going, has no issues, is not trying to improve itself, we leave that knowingness. We sort of overlook this knowingness, and we go to, am I enlightened? How am I doing? Will I succeed? Will I get this and that tomorrow, etc.? Why did she do? Why did she act like this towards me? Why did I do this and that? We leave our self-knowingness and we go back to our identification. Notice that. And also notice that whenever that arises, it's a little bit troublesome. It's not very happy. And ask yourself, hey, is there really something out there? Are there really any goodies out there? I mean, how long have I been at it? How long have I been at it? And what am I going after? Just ponder about it, and ponder that all these thoughts about me and time is promising you something in the future, but your experience is always now. So it's a form of postponement. You're postponing via thought. You're postponing just the bliss of Ananda right now for some future goodies. And that's a hoax. There's something off about that. Right? It's true. I mean, we do that. We do that. But we can also notice. We can notice this chasing, as if there is an actual tomorrow, as if there is an actual tomorrow. And if we get the goodies tomorrow, if we get that beautiful partner that we wanted, does it really fulfill us? It's a good question. I mean, we have a lot of data. I mean, we've already done a lot of iterations, and we know, at least hopefully we know, that doesn't work. Doesn't work. It doesn't fulfill. It may plug a hole just for a moment, because at the moment that we get what we want, there is the desireless state. But then, because we're still in the realm of thought and looking out via the senses, the next desire will arise. It's just a matter of time. Okay.
Magdi?
Yes, hello?
It's Zoe. Can you hear me?
Yes, hello, Zoe. Yes.
I just have a couple of comments and something I wanted to share. First of all, the whole topic of unborn, when I first, started hearing that, I think maybe it was Robert Adams, one of his old recordings, and he said, "You are the unborn." I was like, "Oh my goodness!" And something resonated. But yeah, now it's, as I explore, it's just wonderful to see that that's the simple truth and reality. But what I wanted to share was something that happened that had to do with this desirelessness. I was talking to somebody and I realized I was getting irritated because they were talking about themselves and I wanted the focus to be on me. But Magdi, it was so amazing. It's like I sat and contemplated that, and at first, it was like this whole story came up about, who they were and everything, and then it was like, okay, who needs this attention? And then it like popped this complete world, and it was like, well, the self has no need. There's just, it was like everything is absolutely 100% okay. There's no need for love out there because I am love. And I think that's, like you said, the experience of that was huge. It just was amazing. And anyway, so if you could talk about desirelessness, that would be great.
Well, first, it's really beautiful what you are sharing, Zoe. That you see in this moment, your impatience and you're wanting things to be different, and then that drops. And it's possible that the next minute you get irritated by something else again. Right?
Right.
Okay, so there isn't like there are no formulas about this, but it's
right.
there are, as we're examining and looking and contemplating, like the whole me thing, the whole me structure, the images, the thoughts, what we're trying to protect. And as we're doing that, in the midst of all of that, there are insights, and the insights, they always come from beyond. They come through as we sort of, like you describe, the moments where you see something, but it's and you remain open. I mean, meaning yes, you recognize that, you welcome this insight, but it's also good. And I'm not talking about anything that you're doing or not doing, just speaking generically, that it's also good to be careful not to draw any conclusions or not to develop any strategies, because all
Right.
conclusions, all strategies refer to me, right? I mean, yes,
Right.
right.
Yes.
So we remain unknowing. We say, "Oh wow, this is great. This great. I really felt for them a moment ago. I hated this person, and right now I could embrace them. Wow, that's cool." And you know, you just let it be, let it go where it goes, do what it does. And your question about desirelessness, uh, you know, like in deep sleep, in, in deep sleep, we're so happy because there isn't anything we're desiring or anything we're resisting, right? I mean, and and in fact, like when we are sitting with friends,
Yeah.
when we're sitting with friends, we don't want anything from them. We're just grooving on being with them. We just, you know, love being with them, seeing
Yeah.
them, laughing with them. They could be the foolishest, the most foolish person around and say the most foolish things. Well, we still love them, right? So we're judgment free, and we're not trying to be special so they like us or love us more because they're our friends. And really, so uh, you will find that also, like when you're out in nature and you're communing with nature, you're just enjoying everything as it is. It could be some fungus growing on a tree trunk, or it could be just the sun shining through the woods, or it could be just dark woods, whatever it is. When you are communing with nature and you're happy, you're at peace, there isn't there are not there isn't like a wanting anything or resisting anything, right? You're just
Yeah.
piece of being. In our in, in, in our experience of desiring, we start, we don't notice that, but we start with is something that will make me happy. There's something out there or somewhere, a relationship, a situation, a position, an object that will make me happy. And it could be that it will make you happy, but only make you happy just for a moment, because at the moment of getting what you want, the desire, the desirer and the desired are joined as one. And when the desirer and the desired are one, it's the end of desire. So at that moment we feel, ah, yeah, right. I mean, it's great, you know, I got what I wanted. But we don't realize that at that moment is a moment of desirelessness. So desirelessness is
Yes.
is there is a peace in being desireless, but I think it's important to be sort of sober about this. Like as long as there is the me, all what the me is thoughts. Well, first of all, there is this imagined person with thoughts about the past and the future, and this, as soon as you are a person, meaning you imagine yourself to be this woman, this person born, already right at the inception of this thought, you have reduced yourself from being the transparency of being to being a pound, you know, a flesh and, you know, being a person. And as soon as you are limited, as soon as you limit yourself, there is within that process the desire for the absolute, the desire for the freedom, the desire to be free of this limitation. And also within this limitation of being a person, there is a sense of incompleteness, which we refer to as lack. So desire and the desire is born out of the first desire, which is the desire to be a person, meaning the identity, desiring to be this person. And then it goes better person, worse person, a richer person, a more powerful person, etc. So the contemplation of desire goes hand in hand with the contemplation of what is it that's desiring. So every desire refers to somebody desiring it, right?
Yeah.
So you look at the desire right now. Let's say that right now I desire to win $1 million. And when I look at this, I may notice that what's arising is thoughts. Some thoughts are arising. Thoughts and images, maybe. Thoughts, images about me in my Cadillac or me in my castle, which is an image, right?
Yeah.
It's a thought image. And maybe images of somebody I saw on television that won $1 million and they had a big grin on their face. So there is another image that may arise, right?
Yeah.
And there are sensations arising within the body. And then I'm looking at like, what is it that's desiring? What is desire and what is it that's desiring? And as I look at it, without going to a definition in the encyclopedia, if I'm looking right now. So when I look right now at what is desire and what is it that's desiring, I only find thoughts and sensations, images, and I don't find an actual somebody. I don't find an actual someone who is desiring. There may be a thought that says there is someone desiring and the someone is me. But that also is a thought, but I don't find a someone, because when you go to the thought, the thought is like a mirage. It's empty. So when we look at desire, we look at desire, who or what is it that is desiring? Truly, when we look at our experience, we come empty-handed, which puts a big wrench in the whole. Like, well, what? I can't move. I can't take a step anymore. It's like I'm like in a way, disarmed. I'm founded. Like I can't go any further with the conversation.
Yeah.
So it's all like it's so much stuff that seems to be so real, and it's just mentation. And when we look at it, there is a way of looking at it to see that it's like it's all mentation. And somehow the whole thing gets disarmed. It's like we can't go on with this charade.
Yeah.
Of like me desiring blah blah blah, I'm missing this,
Yeah.
what's this I? It's just all a bunch of thoughts and sensations arising in this moment. And when you look at them, they're empty. There's only one thing that is. It's always there. And that's awareness, the transparency of the light of being, the transparency of being, right?
Yeah.
And that is not like a parrot that you have to give him a peanut every 2 minutes. It's a formless awareness. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. Complete. No lack.
Right. How could the formless lack anything? Formless doesn't know form. It's only the parrot that's asking for the peanut. But then we can give the parrot a peanut. That's not a problem. What does it have to do with consciousness, with I, with what I am?
Yeah.
I mean, the body which we're managing is like we're managing a parrot. If you have a parrot, it's an extension of you. Or if you have a cat or a dog or a plant, it's an extension of you. Or you buy tomatoes, there is an extension of you. You have to put them in the fridge and wash them before eating them. Everything is an extension of you. Well, as a way of speaking, I mean, in fact, there is no separation. It's all your very self.
Yeah, it's I guess what I've been noticing too is just how it all is unfolding perfectly by itself.
Yeah, it's,
Yeah.
consciousness is dreams all dreams. There has no issue with its dreams.
Yeah.
It's not affected by the dreams that it's dreaming. And what's lovely about this dream that we're sharing right now is that it's a dream not about World War III or about becoming millionaires or about the political world. It's a dream about consciousness. It's a dream about the dreamer, about the ultimate dreamer. And whenever you're dreaming about consciousness, you're contemplating consciousness, there is happiness. It's a lovely, it's different from contemplating getting a better job or getting
Wow.
a bigger house or getting traveling the world or right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's much sweeter.
Yeah, absolutely.
Much sweeter.
Yeah. So desirelessness, in a way, is comes with uh, the direct understanding that there isn't a desirer, and
Yes.
nothing to desire. There is
Yes.
nothing a part of yourself, a part of the.
Uh,
There is nothing a part of the self.
uh,
So that the whole structure um, collapses into itself. Itself meaning collapses into presence, into peace, into beingness.
Thank you, Magdi.
Yes, Zoe. Hello, Maria. You wrote, Magdi, I have a dear friend who has a brain tumor and she does not recognize people. And from this relative point of view, she has a disjointed sense of time, space, and objects. Could you say that her body mind, as we know, is dismantling, but that the consciousness that shines through her, through every one of us, is exactly the same? Yes, I would definitely say that. There is an issue with this specific body mind. There are issues with many, many, many body minds, if not all body minds. Yes. But that does not mean that there is an issue with consciousness. Yes, yes, Maria. From the point of view of her body mind, she simply has a different set of perceptions. Maria, the body mind has no point of view. So there is no such a thing as from the point of view of her body mind. There is only one point of view, which is no point of view, which is the reality of presence, the reality of consciousness. What does the body have to do with consciousness? What does the weather have to do with consciousness? What does the rotation of specific planet has to do with consciousness? It's consciousness's dream. All body minds are consciousness's dream. It is one consciousness that shines through all body minds. And not all body minds are the same. Some body minds are blind. They're born blind. Some body minds are born deaf. Some body minds are born giggly and they like to giggle at everything. Some body minds are more introvert and listening to the dark side of things. So no, the specific body-mind condition has nothing to do with consciousness. Don't confuse consciousness with the body-mind. Okay, Laurie, Tara said you had a question. Okay. Hey, Laurie, can you address the role of synchronicity in this amness? Yes. Yes. So, Lori, consciousness is borderless. Yeah, it's universal. Consciousness is all-knowing, meaning it knows the very perception from via this body-mind, and it knows the perception via Lori's body-mind. So one knowingness. There's one knowingness, infinite body-minds. What the fish in the depth of the ocean, whatever the fish is perceiving, is via this one knowingness. It's only one knowingness. While we are identified with the body-mind, where we're experiencing the sense of separation, we're experiencing the sense of me, my life, my problems, my troubles, and so on. The body-mind as a mechanism has a lot of short circuitry, short circuit in it, going. It's not functioning in its full transparency. And when it's not functioning in its full transparency, it is less in tune with the synchronicity of consciousness, the synchronicity that is. It is less in tune with the universality of consciousness. So in general, body minds, most 7 billion of body minds on this planet, they're not so much in tune, they cannot detect, your thoughts or your feelings or your past perceptions or your future perceptions. They're strictly in their bubble. But as the contemplation of the self dissolves this sense of the walls, the shells of the me, as they start to dissolve, we experience more and more synchronicity. There are too many, in my experience, to share with you. And all of us, we know that on occasion, we may be thinking of something, and then our partner would speak it. And we go, wow, I was just thinking about that. That happens in our experience no matter what, but I would say it is more and more noticeable when the sense of separation and the feelings of separation dissolve out of the body mind. Synchronicity is one expression of consciousness that you cannot explain. Like, for example, how could I know what you were thinking without talking with? I mean, I knew it even without you mentioning it. It cannot be explained. But from the perspective of the mind, it cannot be explained. But it points directly to the perspective of consciousness, which is all-knowing, which is all-pervading. And we usually discard the synchronicity, and the telepathy, and all these qualities of consciousness by saying, oh, there's something special about this person. This person has particular ESP. We individualize. We give those traits to a specific person. We say this person has a particular gift. But that's not, there is no gift to a person. All the gifts are consciousness's gift. And consciousness is choosing to reveal itself, or to give a little hints about itself via specific body minds. But the greatest, of course, synchronicity is the full revelation of the self, where there is a direct recognition and direct knowingness of yourself as that, and the direct knowingness of everything as that.
Thank you for that, Magdi. That helps.
Okay, Lori, yes. So it's quite amusing, you know, sometimes when I'm with Tara, and we laugh a lot at that. You know, we become so habituated to the sort of silent communication that occurs.
Well, I also noticed in my own journey that the synchronicity and the telepathy and the flow, the perfect flow, is usually most evident when there is that stillness.
Yes.
And then there's no thought, it's just all unfolding, and it's a marvel, and it brings some wonderment and delight.
Yes.
But it's incredible sometimes the stories you could tell with the incredible telepathy I've had as well in the flow.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I have to tell you something funny. When you were talking in the beginning, you talked about this sort of circuits that are fried or not working properly when synchronicity is not working for you, or you don't see it or feel it. And here I thought of the robot in the Lost in Space show, when he gets overloaded and goes, does not compute, does not compute. And all the steam comes out of his ears.
Right.
And then he stops working. And I think that's the overloaded mind.
Right. Yes.
When we're caught up in the thinking, and we're caught up in the future and the past, and one step out of reality, one step out of the truth,
right.
And then we short circuit.
Noise. You know, it's as if like there are waves that are crushing into each other. You know.
Yes, interference patterns.
Yes, interference patterns. Right.
So thank you. I really laughed out loud at your way of describing it. I appreciate your answer on that. Synchronicity has been a powerful part of my world. Thank you.
Yes, because in that open space, the open space of awareness, the open space of being, everything is revealed. Everything is in the same realm. It's a realm that has no borders. That contains everything. And it's been demonstrated so many times, you know, in over the centuries, that, you know, people perceiving future events, people perceiving across distance, and very specific, you know, experiences, but somehow, because we don't have yet the, let's say, the mature understanding of consciousness, we basically credit the person with some, you know, with some specific powers. And of course, like these powers, you could give credit to the person, but recognizing also that there is something beyond the person that's being expressed via this person.
Yes.
That is.
Well, every good healer will tell you that it's not them, but to me, it's maybe an aperture issue, a dilation, or, you know, how big are you like a tap or a fire hose of awareness? How much of that is shining through? And the greater the aperture or the opening, then of course the greater the miracles, the synchronicity, the telepathy, the healings. It's the way the divine is. It's the way I am.
Yeah, I like the metaphor of a circle without a center, with an ever expanding radius, with an infinite radius that's ever expanding. So it's a circle without a center, or a sphere without a center, with an ever expanding infinite radius.
I love that. Thank you. That's a great image.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you. That was a great answer and a great chat. Thanks a lot.
Okay. Yes, sorry. Wonderful.
Okay.
the dissolution of the personal center, it is not, it's not a loss. It's actually that personal center becoming the entire realm. So within the extinction of the personal center, there is sort of a universal center. It may sound weird to be speaking like that, of center that's universal, but there's something that's being expressed this way. Okay, if there are any questions.
Hi, Magdi.
Hello, Esther.
When you were just mentioning the expanding sphere, I thought about your yoga meditations on expanding the body and expanding contractions, like in meditation. Could you speak about that a bit?
Yes, Esther. Of course, best way to speak about these things is to be actually doing these yogas, because these yogas cannot be explained, but they can be experienced. But since you asked a couple of things, there are two directions, two, let's say, approaches, at least the way I'm speaking about it. Of course, there are many, many more, just sort of speaking from a specific position. One is the going in, and the other is the going out. So whatever arises, for us, arises as thoughts, perceptions, and sensations. And thoughts are very ephemeral. Of course, they do have an impact, but their impact is not so much in the thought, it's in the feelings. For example, the thought that you may lose your job, for example. It's just a thought that passes, but the import of the thought is in your feelings. So you would feel that thought. You will feel the contraction in your body, whichever way it will appear to you. And that's more like the significance of the thought is in the feeling. Similarly, you may perceive something, but the perception also can shift. You may perceive somebody being abusive with somebody else, and then the perception goes, but you will feel infuriated or personally injured or whatever, and that feeling will be your experience. So our experience, just to simplify it, I would say that our experience is mostly with feelings. And there is two ways of approaching in terms of the sadhanas, of being with feelings. One of them is to get closer to the feeling. In other words, to put your attention and your interest and your love towards the feeling, to feel the feeling, to experience the feeling in its completeness, in its complete intimacy. So you get closer and closer. And it's difficult to get closer when you have a label or an image. So you have to sort of get closer and closer to the actual feeling, to the actual sensation. You have to go into your body, whichever way it's appearing, whichever way the feeling is appearing in your body. And you go closer and closer to it. It's a silent, quiet, inner rapprochement, stepping closer and closer, inviting yourself to experience it completely, without knowing it, without labeling it, without having any personal objective. Just because it's there is something there, and you go in closer and closer. You remain not knowing, because as soon as you engage the mind, you're stepping out of it. You're stepping into labeling, into thinking away from it. So you're moving towards it, but you don't even know what it is, and you don't know what is moving towards it. It's just a sort of a surrendering deeper and deeper into the sensation. That's one direction, and that is to live. There's no sense in talking too much about it. Sort of have to experiment with it. And the other approach, which they go hand in hand. It's not like, oh, this A versus B. They're connected, and there isn't a preferable way. Whichever way resonates for you, is to invite the sensation, the feeling, to its complete freedom. So you go to your body, you're scanning what's happening. So in a way, you're also looking within, you're getting closer, and you invite whatever is there, whatever feeling is there, whatever sensation is there, to its complete freedom. In a way, you're recognizing its freedom. Another way of putting it is like, you don't limit whatever you're experiencing with any of your thinking. You welcome it. Say, hey, I know there's something there. I don't know who you are, but hey, you're welcome. You're welcome. You have your complete freedom. And there is a lot of space for you. So there is the spaciousness of being. So simultaneously, you're inviting the sensation, you're turning your attention to the sensation, and you're turning your attention simultaneously to the vastness of being, the vastness of awareness, the spaciousness, the space in which the sensation is arising. And you invite the sensation to expand in that space, in the space of awareness, in your welcoming space, whichever way it wants to go. And, we have, during the retreat, done some yogas like that. And you have some hints of how to work with that. That's the general gist of it.
Thanks, Maggie. My experience, the word that you often use is disarm. Disarm?
Disarm.
Yeah, my experience in those kinds of, in that experience, my experience in that experience is that it totally disarms the contraction. Things that have been held so strongly and tightly, it totally dissolves them. That's been my experience.
Yeah. It's we have a tendency to hold on to tighten around what we don't like, and also to tighten around what we like so we don't lose it. So we tighten around what we don't like so we protect ourselves, and we tighten around what we like so we don't lose it. But in both cases, there is really nothing there. There's just a tightening. It's a tightening. Whether you're tightening to resist and to protect, or whether you're tightening to hold on and not to lose, both are the same tightening. It's just the same tightening. And this tightening is exhausting. It's not happy. It's not what we really want. We don't want to tighten, but we do it. Bad habit. So this tightening is has echoes in the body, tightening around some resistance, which is resisting being hurt. Whatever we imagine something is going to hurt us, whatever we're imagining ourselves to be, we're imagining ourselves and we're imagining something that may hurt us. And in this process, the body tightens. So in turning your attention to the body and cajoling the tightness, sort of whispering to its ear, singing a lullaby to it. To, speak some reason to it. Tell it, hey, you've got all you need here. You've got the entire field. Hey, you can play in the whole field. Don't just bundle up, in this corner. Just play in the whole field. Just come, expand. We're welcoming you. There's complete openness for you here, right? And so it's a sort of a welcoming and releasing. All these concepts, they have a dualistic aspect to them. It's like somebody is releasing, is doing something. It's more in noticing that there is the spaciousness in which that contraction is arising, and it's welcome into the space. In that simple contemplation, that is what we call releasing. It's not like somebody is doing something. You're doing nothing. It's simply noticing that there is a space of awareness. There is the space, and anything that arises in a certain space, right? So there is space around it. So and space has no borders. You cannot say space ends here, and So it's this sort of recognition, and simultaneously, when you get closer and closer to that which you are experiencing, which you are sensing, which you are feeling, you are bypassing the process of escape. There are so many escape mechanisms, escape tendencies that we have to think about something else, to blame, to label, to blame ourselves, to whatever. There are many escape mechanisms, and escape mechanisms are what maintains the feeling. It roots it. See, it's like sweeping something under the rug. You still have it under the rug, so you have to go to it. When you go to it, you're not escape. You're not indulging in any escape mechanisms. And so there is just the light of being that is shining onto whatever's on board. And that's okay.
Thanks so much.
Okay, Esther. Well, okay. Well, I thank you all for satsang. Very lovely to be with you. So this Sunday we will not be meeting, but upon our return, I will schedule the next meeting. Very lovely to be with you all. Okay, Eric and Esther, Holly, Lori.
Thank you.
Zoe, thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Maggie.
Okay, Zoe.